Yeah, I just thought I might add a couple of things to the breathing AT dharma lesson. So I had brought up this idea of sipping the breath. That's part of it. You know, a lot of it is just getting the back breathing, shall we call it. There's a lot of books on back breathing, getting our abdominal breathing. It's really the whole back gets very involved in breathing, but it's also different in that it's really smooth and even and kind of it's like pulling silk. You know, it's a real light touch, but it's real steady, real even. In the Dzogchen text, they talk a lot about evenness, the great evenness. There's this evenness is kind of what it is, you know. There's no herky-jerky anymore. There's no, or at least for a time, one can't be knocked off, you know. One can't be unbalanced. One's got in touch with this evenness, and like evenness is everything, sort of. And when you're in touch with that, it's like emotions are not, they can't touch the evenness. Because you are in touch with the evenness, you can't be, hope and fear are not applicable for a little while or whatever. You're just steady. You're just steady, steady, steady. And that's why this breathing is. It just has this steady, so light. I don't know. I'm not sure that one can create. I don't think you can create this, but if you run into this, you can let it happen, you know, a little bit more. I don't know. Pretty advanced, probably. Very advanced, probably. But anyway. So, another advanced topic. From advanced to advanced. We talked about the tongue. But we didn't say everything I might say about the tongue, so maybe I'll say a few more tongue twisters here. So, we're taught the first, maybe for a while they don't tell you anything about the tongue much, but at a certain point they tell you put your tongue kind of at the top of your teeth, on your palate, let it rest there very gently. Very lightly. That's a good instruction. That's a very good instruction. But it's also kind of, you know, beginning instruction in a way, I think. Whatever. It's good. It's good to perfect that. And this is some wild shit, maybe. I don't know. At least this middle one I came up with myself, so maybe it's, who knows. Doing that for a long time, I discovered another stage or phase, and I really associate this with Mahamudra. I don't know. It's kind of sensual, and the Nyingmas have a different technique. Their highest technique is completely different, so I'm going to tell you about that one too, but first I'm going to tell you about this. I don't know what to call it. It's like the tongue becomes a lotus flower. That's the way I describe it, understand it. You know, I'm talking about that big fat tongue that really. So this is where this comes from, sort of, in a way. This is where you get the big fat tongue from doing this. The tip is touching right where we said, but the tip kind of goes over this a little bit. But the main part of the tongue has a little. The main part of the tongue has a downward, big, fat, flat. And the tip kind of rolls over at the top. So it's this. I don't know. Try it. If you get that far. Do the first one first, you know, and get the tongue relaxed. It's all about getting the tongue relaxed in a certain way. But it just wants to do, it wants to do what I'm explaining to you. That's what it wants to do next. And then later on, I was reading all this Nyingma stuff, and they say that for the Nyingmas, the highest thing, the expression of what we're talking about here, is the tongue is pretty straight. It just points straight at the teeth, but it doesn't touch anything. They say it's like a vajra. The tongue is like the central prong of the vajra, and the jaw and teeth is like the rest of it. And that it's like, but they don't touch, but they're nice. That's more the Nyingma Maha'ate style of all of that, I believe. It's my understanding. And I pretty much gone to the Maha'ate style. I don't do the Mahamudra thing like I used to, but I did a lot of it. It was fantastic. It was all about energy in a way. But I've just become this Nyingma. I've just been reading hardly anything but Nyingma. You know, 90%, 95% Nyingma is what I read now. I just follow the other one now. I can't tell you anything about that. It's like, it's not the big, fat, sensual thing. It's just like a powerful, it's almost like your tongue is not that fat, but it's a straight shot to Mahati, to Dzogchen. And you just, you know, it never moves, never touches anything. It's just, that's it. That's, you know, and then the lips, there's a whole thing about the mouth and what the mouth does. And there's some controversy here. I want y'all to understand the thinking. So, you know, the Buddha taught us, or maybe it was the Karmapa, but some big Buddha back in there taught us to open our mouths, let the air flow out of the mouth and the nose. This is very important in overcoming ego. If your mouth is closed, you build up pressure in your air vessels in your lungs, and that is part of ego. That is ego's. Ego lives in that sort of heightened pressure, tense. It's a little tense in our lungs. So we make sure the air comes out our mouth and our nose. Make sure our lips are open. But I understand this best in terms of the samurai. I studied Kyudo a long time and studied what the samurai is all about, you know. And the samurai think you look stupid if your mouth is hanging open. The Japanese think you look stupid if your mouth is hanging too open. So they think essentially your mouth is, it's not closed. Like in Aikido, they do the same thing. But really, it's not closed. It just looks like it's not open in a way. So, you know, if you're hanging out with the samurai people, the Aikido people, just kind of, you can still keep it open, but you just don't let it hang open and look, because you look like stupid. That's where that sipping comes in. That's where that sipping comes in, because your mouth is not that open, but it's the lips are relaxed, man. The jaw is not tight. And all that stuff with the tongue keeps that jaw from getting tight. You cannot have a tight jaw and do that enigma thing. You can't, that's not it. That's error. Or the other one. You can't do any of those tongue things and have a clenched jaw, really. You gotta, and you cannot go, and keep a clenched jaw either, you know. Those are two opposite things, you know. The clenched jaw is to keep you from breathing out. I mean, it's an important point that your jaw is not clenched. So if you're managing to clench your jaw in the middle of doing all this other stuff right, well, stop clenching your jaw. That's the whole point. The whole point of all this is stop clenching the jaw. Oh. So, what happens in a group? Here's what happens. In the very beginning, the instruction is, on the out-breath, make a little noise that you can hear. He doesn't have to hear it over here. It's as long as you hear it, that's all it. You're fulfilling the instructions. But your body has stuff to do, to unleash, to release stuff. So you may go through a period where your breathing is very rough. The whole point is to get to the breathing being very refined and not loud at all. You're not going to make a sound that anybody else can hear once you get to your goal. But getting there may be a little bumpy in that way. You may, you may be coughing up fur balls. I think you just got to do it, man. I think you just got to go with it. I mean, you know, I think we ought to divide the room in half. The people that are doing the real work get on the right side. The people that don't want to listen to that shit, don't want to think about it, get on the left side. We separate. And then we get along a lot better. I think we just ought to announce at the beginning of the doctrine, okay, all you people that want to breathe right or really let go on the out breath, get over here. All you people that are not really into that philosophy, get over here. I think we'll get along pretty good. But what you got to understand, that guy that's making a lot of sound, he's going to settle down if you just give him a little while. Unless he's just highly neurotic. But even then, eventually he's going to settle down. You just got to give him his space, you know. You got a nutcase next to you on the right who's doing what he needs to be doing, but he's just going to make some noise and move away from him. Just move to the left. Or wherever you can go to get away from him. Everybody be happy. But they're going to settle down. You're going to settle down eventually. Your breathing's going to settle down. It's not going to be that loud. Nobody can hear it but you. And even at some point, you can't hear it anymore, but you can taste it. You can feel it. You're like pulling silk out of a silk worm's pod there. You're doing the job. It doesn't make a lot of noise. It doesn't make any noise. I don't know what this is. This is